According to the Wall Street Journal, Netflix plans to raise their prices after the ongoing Hollywood actor strike comes to an end. This has sent streaming company shares up more than 4%. We're getting some legal guidance on the matter from business legal expert Novel Gonzalo. Thank you so very much for being with us.
Yes, hello. Thank you for having me.
And the company has not given a timeline, Netflix that is, for the raise in prices or given exact dollar amounts. Any more information you can give us?
Sure, absolutely. So this is something that's going to have an impact on the consumers for sure. And there's kind of three perspectives. We look at both the factual, what's actually happening, why these strikes even happen. Then we look at the legal, and then we look at that impact on the consumer. And when you look at the factual aspect, you guys touched upon it. The writers, the actors, they are striking because they needed increased pay, compensation. They wanted both lump sum plus residuals. They wanted to be able to have their voice heard. And then also the impact of AI technology is huge. And that is what has really come into play and that we've seen at the heart of some of these negotiations. And so when you talk about the role of AI when it comes to the writers, so the Writers Guild that resolved their strikes about 146 days on the picket line, almost 5 months of striking, and their demands or needs were met. But with them, the AI impact was scripts that were being created by machines. So for example, the writer could write a script and then a studio could take that same script and create 5 more just like it without having to pay the writers. And they said, hey, wait a second, this is our work, our intellectual property. Why do you get to use this and not have to pay us for it? So they went on strike as a result of that. And the reality is that in copyright, there is no law that protects a machine creating intellectual property, and it only protects human created works. So now we have the actors that are also on strike because they said, hey, wait a second, you're using our name, our image, our likeness, and you're generating that with a computer and not paying us for it. So they're saying we cannot do that anymore. So now the actors are still in discussions and working on that with the studio. So that's a really big deal. So now we're seeing that change. And with that increase in price with Netflix, consumers were going to have to vote with their wallets and say, okay, are they going to go to Netflix or are they going to go to Peacock or Hulu or another option?
It seems like these big companies make so much money and they're just passing on the buck to the consumers. That doesn't seem very fair.
Right. Well, one of the things we'll have to see is, okay, is maybe you're going to raise those prices initially, but the consumer has the right to vote with their wallet and go to another competitively priced alternative. And the great thing is with streaming, there are so many great options, so many great alternatives that people do have choice. And if there's one thing we've seen with the studios, Leslie, is that the collective action of a group has an impact. When the collective group of writers from the Writers Guild said, we are not going to take this anymore until changes are made, changes were made. The actors, SAG-AFTRA, said the same thing. We're not going to take this anymore. And they're now at the table discussing. And if the consumer does the same thing, if they say, hey, these price increases aren't quite fair, we're going to take our business elsewhere, it'll have an impact for sure.
You mentioned that there is business elsewhere, but do you see all those other streaming businesses following Netflix suit?
Right. So I think initially we're going to see it start to follow suit. We're going to see everybody have a little bit of an uptick in price, but eventually, in order to gain some type of competitive edge. Now, if it was a monopoly and there was only one, there's just Netflix or there was just, Apple TV, then we'd probably say, oh gosh, there's a price hike that's going to happen. It's going to stay for a while. But we have so many different competitors that someone's going to want to get to have an edge. And it may be that we see that billionaires are going to have to start to be comfortable being millionaires and taking a cut on their end.
I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Keira Knightley revealed that she plans to copyright her face as this AI technology just really kind of takes off. Do you think, is that something that's going to be allowed?
Well, copyright, like we said, it affects the human creation of any fixed, tangible work of art. So if it's her face, she can do that. One of the implications we're going to see for consumers is what is the questions that arise will be, how is this going to affect our access to stars and to celebrities? Are they going to start to pull back on their likeness or their image, do less interviews, pull content off different platforms? And this is something Keira Knightley, she's getting her image copyrighted. The estates of the late Anthony Bourdain and Andy Warhol, they allowed for the images, for the voices rather, of those late actors and celebrities to be in a particular documentaries. Now,
And
if they weren't
unfortunately, we're out of time, but thank you so very much for this information. Great information. And now we know that
sure.
that price hike is coming at least on Netflix. So thank you very much.